right into it. So I talked about Power Book 2 earlier. We got somebody that's in the NBA that's trying to live like Tyreek St. Patrick. John Morant has been in the news for things other than basketball lately. The Grizzlies star point guard apparently wants to do hood rat things with his friends.
That's funny.
my boy, my boy Sticks, is Ja trying to sabotage his career?
If he's, I don't think he's intentionally trying to do it, of course, but
Yeah,
he's doing a damn good job of doing it without intentionally doing it because, bruh, you just signed a Supermax contract with the Grizzlies last year. You know what I'm saying? You're taking care of your family. You got your, you know what I'm saying? You got your dad at the games with you, your mom and your sister at the crib, and sometimes at the games too. Like you're a good kid, bro. Like you're a good kid. And I said this to D-Lo earlier in the week. He reminds me of that last rap battle in 8 Mile. You know what I'm saying? Where he was like, his name's Clarence, and Clarence is at home with both parents. They have a real
yeah,
good marriage. Like that's Ja. That's
yeah.
literally Ja Morant. Like, why are you out here trying to have this persona of a hood dude whenever you ain't even walked that path not one time in your life? Now, granted, you from South Carolina, and some parts of South Carolina can be, not, can be, well, every state has that part of town. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, bro, like you went to a private school, you grew up with both parents. Your dad owns a couple of barbershops. He's worth about $5-6 million himself. So like you had a good life. Why are you hanging out with these guys that are showing you the part of the world that you don't need to see, especially being a professional athlete and a good professional athlete at that? Like, I don't understand it, bro. I honestly don't understand it, D-Lo. I really don't.
So I'm not gonna sit here and act like I don't understand it. Let me say that first, coming from Josh's situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like American society or American culture and Black culture isn't um, enamored or fixated on the depiction of gangster and mob culture, because
100%.
we truly are, evidenced by the well-known movies of Scarface, Godfather, New Jack City,
Paid
TV
in
shows,
full.
Paid in Full, TV shows, Snowfall, Power, shit like
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, we just enamored with gangster culture, and what happens is it moves itself up and down, both American culture, Caucasian culture, Black culture. We all try
Mm-hmm.
to live that lifestyle for a little bit, or at least portray ourselves to be hood, because we always talk about, or not us, but society always talks about what women do to get the attention of men.
Mm-hmm.
Men sometimes, and this to me, we talked about corny earlier, can be kind of corny.
It is
Men
very corny.
sometimes portray themselves to be hood to get the attention of females.
Very
And I
true.
mean, we're all guilty of doing that uh, when we were younger. I'm sure. I know for sure. I wasn't like flashing guns, and I don't even like guns, but I wasn't
Yeah.
flashing guns like that. But the clothes I wore, some
Mm-hmm.
of the sayings and how I talked portrayed hood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I say all that to say is, I'm not going to sit here and act like that's not something that a person of his status or a person of his age could easily get caught up in. What I
True.
will say though is we need to make sure that we are, getting our young Black geniuses, sports or any other area of life. We need to make sure that we aren't having them hustle backwards. And
For
what I
sure.
mean by that is making it and then trying to act like they hard when they work so hard throughout their life, made so many sacrifices throughout their life to get to where they are. Usually
Right.
you fake it until you make it, not you make it and then you fake it. Nah, you don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I feel like Ja right now, like you said, he might not be doing it intentionally, but unintentionally he is kind of sabotaging his career.
One
And
hundred
so
percent. 100
yeah.
percent, man. And it's like this. So I'm just to give y'all a little bit of a history lesson about myself. So, like I said, Ja from South Carolina, I'm from North Carolina. Me and D-Lo from Fayetteville. Fayetteville is known for not being a good place to live. Right.
Hmm.
I grew up
Vietnam.
on Vietnam. So I grew up on the Merc. If anybody been to Fayetteville before, you know what the Merc is. The Merc is not
Hmm.
a good street you want to go down, especially sometimes a day. So the things that Ja Morant is perceiving right now, I've actually seen in live action. Like
Mhm.
playing basketball at Seabrook Park, seeing people get shot, seeing a lot of different things in my life when I had some family members in my life that were, ingratiated in a couple of things that they were trying to keep me away from because I was the athlete of the family. So
Mhm.
luckily I had some family members to deter me from moving with them because like, nah, bro, you gonna make it out type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what he is portraying, I've actually seen, but I don't
Mhm.
see myself at 37 years old, soon to be 38 in 3 weeks. Thank you, Lord. So I, you don't see myself being about to be 38 trying to portray the things that I've seen in the past because I know that's not right, and I know that he has a good head on his shoulders, and he know this shit ain't right either. But
Yep.
for whatever reason, he just feel like he want to have this persona about him. Even like in the games, he's trying to act hard. He almost got into that confrontation with Shannon Sharp when they were, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, why are you
Mhm.
acting hard? And everybody know this ain't you. People on TV and and these analysts are saying like this ain't Ja, but
Right.
like he has this persona about him. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't personally understand it. But it's one of those things where, like you said, you're influenced by the environment that you put yourself around. And he grew up in a good environment. Now he's putting himself in a bad environment, and he's starting to see a lot of the different. I guess. I guess what I'm trying to say is he's starting to see he's ignoring the bad of what he's doing. He's starting to see like the attention that he's getting for being quote unquote thuggish, so to
Mhm.
speak. So and to me, it's just dumb. You're if it was me and I was in job situation, bro, I'd be trying to stay out of the way. 100%. Like I just got a $200 million contract. Why in the fuck am I on live?
And it's easy to say
Flashing
that.
a gun? No,
Yeah.
what?
I mean,
I agree. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
Flashing the
Let me
gun is different. I will say that
dumb.
flashing the gun is different. Like we
Fighting a
all know when you
17-year-old
talk
kid
about,
below. Like, come on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, all that stuff is different though, right? But when you say staying out the way, naturally, that's our personalities. We are stay out the
Yeah,
way
facts.
people.
Yeah,
But for most people, staying out the way just ain't in their nature. Having money or not having money, they just can't stay out the way.
true.
So, and how tall is Ja? I don't know off the top of
Six
my head.
three, I think. 6'3", 6'4".
6'3". Okay,
Yeah.
6'3". So in the landscape of professional basketball, he's one of the little guys.
Mm-hmm.
He very explosive and all that, but and I'm not defending anything that
Oh, he's
Ja
six
has
two,
done.
actually.
I'm just giving the perspective. So
Yeah.
in the landscape of basketball, he's one of the little guys.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all heard of the Napoleon complex. You and I are you're taller than Ja. I'm an inch taller than Ja. So
Mm-hmm.
so we've historically on average been some of the taller individuals in society.
Mm-hmm.
But you've heard of the Napoleon complex.
100%.
And so I kind of feel like the success that Ja has gotten, while it's not exactly the Napoleon complex, is kind of the Napoleon complex. He's just
Mm-hmm.
now you said what thing that let me finish my thought. So
Yeah.
now that he's gotten all of the notoriety, he's gotten the money, he's mm, got to the NBA. I wouldn't say the hard way, but he wasn't necessarily at a top-notch Division 1 school. He was
Mm-hmm.
a second overall pick. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, I'm here. It's the same thing we talked about with Antonio Brown, or that I mentioned about Antonio Brown
I
a
remember what you're
couple of
saying.
weeks ago. Is he played the role well enough for as long as he could to stay under the radar, play well enough to get recognized as a person that deserves XYZ amount of money. He got that contract. Now I can show my ass a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me I'm comfortable. I'm here. Let me do what I need to do. And I hope that's not him, but it just seems like that's what he's moving to now. He's just
Okay. That
spreading
that
his
that
wings out.
that was a good
You know what I'm
analogy
saying?
because it does seem like Ja is moving into that because I remember when we were talking about Antonio Brown, I was contributing to everything to CTE. Like soon as that moment he got hit by Vontez Burfict is when he went crazy. But you
Yeah.
saying that he was under the radar for so long, he got that bread, then that was his personality the whole time. So you saying that
Yeah.
Ja is kind of like similar to Antonio Brown, where it was like this is who he's been. He just was waiting to unleash that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily who he's been. I'm just making the comparison of, when you get when the pressures, when certain pressures of life are now removed from your life, you
Mm-hmm.
start to move to a different level and start to think about different things that you might not have had access to before.
Mm-hmm. Makes
So
sense.
with Ja, the pressures of how I'm gonna help my mom and dad, and I mean, he made $8 million a year prior to this new contract, but still,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it it wasn't the type of money that he makes now. He went from 8 to 39 or something like that. But the
Mm-hmm.
pressures of how I'm help mom and dad buy this house, or help my family change the trajectory of my family moving forward, from here on, that pressures are now going. For sure your family is straight. If I do everything how I'm supposed to do, I know my family's straight for the next couple generations if the money is,
100%.
is spent right or invested right. So
Mm-hmm.
now I don't have to worry about that. Let me go worry about something else. Oh, I wasn't able to do this when I was younger. Let me do this. I mean, you got tattoos. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mama, grandma wasn't allowing none of that when you was in high school, or maybe I
Nah,
can't remember.
nah.
So when you
I
got
had to
to
get my
college,
first
what
tattoo when I
happened?
was in college. Yeah, I got my first tattoo in
Exactly,
college. Exactly.
exactly. So I mean, and same with me. My dad wasn't allowing none of that, and
Mm-hmm.
and now when I got on my own, I made the decisions that I made. I did the things that I wanted to do, but
Mm-hmm.
eventually I got older and saw, oh shit, my dad was right. Maybe I don't need to be doing stuff like this. And I
Mm-hmm.
reverted back to my ways. I mean, Josh's 23 years old. So
Yeah, he's still a young kid.
he's still a young kid, man. So he's gonna make dumb, questionable decisions. It's just the fact that of who he is, and the era that he has grown up in. Kids want to share everything that they do
They
nowadays. Kids
overshare 100%.
They overshare. Kids want to do dumb things nowadays. Things that's like, well, we probably did something similar, but not as grand as they're doing now. Everything's
Mm-hmm.
so grand. Everything's a prank. Everything's a joke nowadays, and everything's online nowadays. So
Everything's online.
again, I'm not defending anything that Ja has done,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the pointing the gun at a 17-year-old, fighting a 17-year-old, flashing the gun on Instagram, or being with his friends to intimidate the Indiana Pacers
Indiana
staff with
Pacers
with
staff.
guns and lasers on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not defending any of that. But
Getting
what
into
I'm
an
saying,
altercation with a mall security guard. Like,
yeah, yeah, stuff like that. I can't defend that. But what I'm saying is, let's offer him just a little bit of grace, just a little bit,
yeah,
and and see what he does moving forward, with this suspension, and if he comes back, I won't say a changed man, but learning from
yeah.
this situation that has occurred.
I think this is something I call boredom theory.
Hmm.
Sometimes whenever you get bored, you create problems.
Mm,
Like, I ain't got nothing
like
else to
that.
do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whenever you bored, you try to find something to do, and it just creates controversy. Like, or you have some kind of theory in your head that you just want to unleash. It's just
Yep.
boredom theory. The dude's bored. He got more money than he's ever had in his life. You know what I'm saying? He's never been. He's always been upper class because his dad was worth millions before he even made it to the
See,
league.
that's new to me. I didn't know that.
His dad owns a couple of barbershops down in South Carolina. His dad is worth $6 million on his own. Not
Six
even,
million.
yeah, 6 million.
Oh, sound like you said billion. My bad.
Oh no, no, I said
Milla.
Millie,
Yeah, yeah.
Milla. So
Okay.
yeah, he was he. That's why he was able to go to a private school that wasn't even in the same city that he was raised in, or where he lived at. So
Okay.
his dad was taking care of the family. His mom has always been a housewife. Mom was
Yep.
always at home doing her thing. So he was brought up in a good life. But the dude is just bored now. He's a 23-year-old kid who's making $40 million. He got a 5 year, $200 million contract. So he's making $40 million a year now. And like, dude, just bored, bro. And like you said, it's just a the social media age now, and the kids want to overshare, and everything is IG live, everything is on TikTok, everything is on social media in general. So now he hanging out with his boys after a loss in the
Right.
club, 5 o'clock in the morning. You going live, flashing guns? Like, why, bro? Why?
Yeah.
First of all, why you ain't sleep? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Because
Yeah.
like, but like you said, we're two stay out the way type of cats, and that's obviously not his personality. Like, he wants to be out there. He's got this money now. Not a bad looking kid, so he can be around the women. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Mhm.
But like I said, I think he's gonna figure out how to turn it around. I think he's gonna eventually have a Hall of Fame career if he keeps playing the way he's playing and if he
Yep.
keeps winning. So I figure out he's gonna. I think he's gonna figure it out. It's just like, bro, like you just doing dumb shit. It's just young dude dumb stuff. Honestly,
Yeah.
because it's
Eh,
like
Yeah.
chill, like get away from the people that you're hanging yourself around. Honestly, because I think it's the company he's keeping for real.
I'm glad you went there because that's exactly where I was about to go. I'm not going to let him off the hook though.
Mm-hmm.
While I think I can accredit most of the decisions that he's making to his age and just the era that he's grown up in, I
Mm-hmm.
also think he needs to make sure that he's keeping the right company around him. You know, so and for that reason, I'm glad that it has been caught now and addressed
Mm-hmm.
now rather than later where the now has been no arrests, no one has lost a life. Later could have been him doing time or associated with some person doing time and potentially somebody losing their life. But he definitely needs to surround himself with better people. Jalen
Mm-hmm.
Rose said, I believe it was
It
yesterday
was.
or
Mm-hmm.
last night, he said on NBA Countdown that Ja is the one that controls his life and that
Mm-hmm.
those and it's not those around him. I agree with that, but I think it's more of a team effort. I
Yep.
think Ja needs to understand his status and who he is in this world, not only as a basketball player, but now as an individual. And then that the individuals around him need to understand who he is and what he represents in this world and protect the bag. So the first for someone of his position, I think he needs to be cognizant of that. And
100%.
a good example of this would be a person understanding who they are, and then the team also understanding who they are. When I say the team, I mean the people around him.
Mm-hmm.
Our boy LeBron James.
100%.
LeBron James is a
100%.
perfect example of him understanding at a young age, be it who he is, what he represents, and then the people around him also understanding who he is and what he represents. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Again, 18 years old, understood that he is about to be a high draft pick in the NBA. He wanted to keep his boys around him. So what did he do? He empowered them and gave them opportunities. He spoke this to life a long time ago. I believe he was on Rhapsody the Basement saying we're gonna take over the world doing XYZ. Little do we know, 10, 20 years later, Mav Carter doing big things. Rich
Mm-hmm.
Paul doing big things. Some other members
Mm-hmm.
of his group doing big things. So I feel like the message has been lost, or that blueprint has been lost with some of the younger guys, because every professional athlete has an entourage, and if the
True.
entourage does not know how to secure the bag, and when I say secure the bag, making sure that the person that's bringing in the money and making sure everybody having a good time ain't doing anything stupid. If everybody don't understand that, then you can't be around them.
You
They
can't
can't
be
be
around
around
them.
it. Yeah.
And like you said, man, it's just a product of. People always say you're a product of your environment, but you dictate your environment most of the time. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? If your environment is revolved around a bunch of dudes carrying guns, doing drugs or selling drugs or whatever that, I ain't saying that's what they're doing, but if that's what you're
Yeah.
seeing around you, then you need to, a person of your stature and the person who is, like you said, is the breadwinner of the group, you can't have that bread go moldy, my boy. You got to get away
100.
from that area that's molding your bread and keep your bread safe. Keep your bread, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But he, like you said, you can't let him off the hook. He did apologize, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? He gonna miss tonight's game and Tuesday's game because he got, suspended for these two games for his actions. But you have to keep your environment safe, bro. You got to keep your circle small, and within that circle, you got to have good quality people. Like you said,
Hmm.
LeBron is one of those guys who has had a clean, other than the controversy that people put on him for the things that they don't like, but he ain't
Right.
did nothing wrong. John needs
Right.
to take that
That we
same
know of.
blueprint. Yeah, facts. But
Yeah.
from what I know, his nose is clean.
Right. Right.
From what the public knows, his nose is clean.
Right.
But right now, Ja, up until this past week, or up until from last summer until now, whenever that whole situation happened with the 17-year-old kid and the
Hmm.
whole thing, all of these things for the past almost for like 10 months, his nose was clean up until now. And now all of a sudden
Right.
he wants to get, he's in all this controversy. So it's like, bro, just keep your circle small and keep that circle with a bunch of good people. So that way you can just keep this bread, bro. You got 40 million coming to you for the next 4 years, bro. Why you trying to
Mhm.
fuck it up? Why you trying to
Let me
mess it
ask
up?
you this. Let
What
me
up?
ask you this. Do you think because of the type of attention that he has gotten in the last, you said 10 months, 5
Mm-hmm.
months or so, do you think he is now just trying to play into that role a little bit more, lean into it a little bit more, or do you truly think it's the boredom theory that you were talking about
I
earlier?
think it's boredom theory, but you know what? You just reminded me of a comment that you made last week that Dame Dash said it's like kind of like self sabotage a little bit. Remember you was talking about it last week. You
Yeah.
was like sometimes people put
Kanye.
themselves in these problems to take the attention off of them and let them kind
Yeah.
of chill for a little bit and then sneak back out the back door type of thing.
Yeah.
Like
I
maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. Like I said, I couldn't do it me myself,
yeah.
but
I
it's one of those things. I think I think it's boredom theory, bro. I think he's honestly just bored, bro. Think
yeah.
he's just bored and he's doing dumb shit and he just needs to just chill out. You know what I'm saying? That's what I honestly think.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily that theory that I was telling you about last week with Dame Dash,
Mm-hmm.
where, you know, high profile celebrities, they get to a status of where they can't do the normal things that they want to do in
Mm-hmm.
life. And so what Dame Dash was saying is that some individuals go through a self-sabotaging or smear campaign,
The smear
in
campaign,
order
yeah.
a smear campaign in order to kind of put negative attention for themselves, so much to the point that people get tired of the person or no
Mm-hmm.
longer want to, praise the person as much as they did, and then they can kind of just fall back a little bit. Of course, not go back to their normal life because they're no longer normal. They've been such a high profile celeb. I don't think it's that.
Mm-hmm.
What I think it is I think he is. So I'm trying to give you draw us a comparison of what I'm saying. Um, so you know how when they say a kid growing up, you tell a kid what he is or what he isn't for so long that when he gets
Mm-hmm.
older, he becomes that person. He becomes what
Right.
you say he is or isn't. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm feeling like Ja might be doing outside of your boredom theory is
Mm-hmm.
everybody's saying, oh, Ja, he hangs around these type of people. Oh, Ja is such a thug or thug
Mm-hmm.
like that
Mm-hmm.
now he's just living it out. He's just like, oh, y'all want to say I'm a thug? All right, look, I got my gun. All right,
Mm-hmm.
these my dudes that I hang around. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel it could. I mean, again, I'm not saying this is what he is. I'm just thinking of the scenarios and the complexities of why we're at this point with Ja. Because, like you said, coming into the league, he was a clean cut dude, really athletic. You know, nose clean, all that, and I still think that's who he is. But now
Yeah.
we're at this point where everybody's questioning, well, what's going on with Ja? Is this, and we're
Is this
just trying
really
to
who
figure
he
out,
is? Or yeah,
right? We're
facts.
just trying to figure out who he is.
I believe he is the same guy he was whenever he came into the league. I just feel like you said, he might just be kind of I guess he's trying to he's in a little bit of a rebellious stage, to be honest, because maybe he wasn't able to do these things whenever he was younger. I don't believe he was. So
Right,
his dad kept his nose clean, his mom kept his nose clean, went to a private school, and he went to college and stayed there for a year, and now he's in the league, and it's like, I never got to experience these things that these guys over here are doing. Let me go see what that's like.
right.
You know
And
what
then
I'm
he's
saying?
also in Memphis, bro. I mean,
He's also
uh,
also in Memphis. Exactly.
Memphis
Exactly.
is a tough place to be. So he could probably easily get caught up with the wrong people being at the club or whatever, and now that's a part of his entourage. And you know, sometimes being a leader is hard to tell those that follow you or those that are in your group that you don't want them around anymore. And so he
That's a
could
fact.
also be in that situation too.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So I mean, I think he's gonna turn it around. I think he's gonna eventually be like, you know what, this really ain't for me. And let me get
Hmm.
back to what really matters, and that's the game of basketball. And let me get back to my craft. And y'all my boys, but I can't be out here doing the bullshit no more and flashing. Come on, bro. Like, you
Yeah,
got to be smarter than that. Whenever you're in a position when he's in a position that he's in, he's got to make better decisions. And right now, he's just not making those decisions. You can contribute it to boredom, you can contribute it to age, you can contribute it to a lot of different things, but he just got to make better decisions moving forward from here on out.
yeah, yeah.
For sure.